come with me to the attic. I'm talking about how I was gonna get all sweaty. First impressions of this furnace is it looks great. It does look good. It's in decent shape. It's not the best ductwork in the world. I'd rather be oversized than undersized for sure. This morning we're heading out to a home in Blanchard, Oklahoma, where we've been there before. Their system's not operating as to what they expect it to work. And so I believe one of our technicians was out there and he had installed a hard start kit to get the compressor to turn over. And we don't believe that it's working well. And so they're having some cooling issues. So anyway, so they called us out and we're gonna see about doing a system replacement. So I'm gonna go take some notes, take some pictures, take some photos, and get a game plan together for them. I love how I said take some photos, some notes, and some pictures. Photos and pictures are the same. Here we go. All right, we're at the customer's house. We're taking a look at the units. They have 4 systems on the house. The unit we're looking at today is the unit that controls the master suite, which is this guy right here. And so we're gonna take a look at it and take pictures, take notes, and get a game plan together. Part of my process, I try to be as thorough as I can. And so I take tons of photos, tons of pictures. Basically, my goal is I want to build a work order for the job. Pile everything so that way I don't miss anything. A little bit of a process, but it works. We always say a system's life is contingent on the homeowner and their preferences and their finances too. A system will make sense to keep. An older system will make sense to replace, and the age can kind of vary. Context, a system will make sense to replace for the homeowner. We've had situations where a system was 8 years old, it was a terrible install, and they've had to replace the major components twice. The compressor went out 2 times. And so we ended up doing a full system replacement and doing a more professional install, fixing a lot of the ductwork issues and replace the refrigerant line set as well. So that way everything was sized correctly, and then get them new warranties so that way they're not having to pay for a repair again. And so that wasn't one of our installs. And so we're having to go back out on some work that was completed by another company, and it obviously, 6 years ago, wasn't done right. So this particular system is 10 years old. It's out of warranty. With the repairs that are needed to get this thing up and running again efficiently, it doesn't make sense to spend that money on this 10-year-old system. And so it makes more sense to really consider doing system replacement. And because they have 4 systems on the house, the game plan will be to phase out each one of these systems as we go. That's kind of the game plan right now. Taking notes and pictures of the electrical, making sure it's sized correctly. What I'm looking at right now is the line set size. Refrigerant pressures are very specific. Manufacturers require different size line sets for different tonnages. So 3/4 line set on a 2.5 ton may be fine. I'll have to look at the manufacturer specifications, make sure that the 2.5 ton system that we go back with, or 3 ton system that we go back with, will work with that specific line set. We may need to increase the line set size. Funny enough, we learned that this system was actually oversized for what they need. So we're actually, the quote we ended up giving was a 2 ton. So they could reuse the line set technically at that point. Good thing is the unit is above, right over there. So we can get that taken care of. If we do have to run the line set, the easiest thing to do, instead of opening up sheetrock and cutting into the inside of the house, we typically will run the line set on the outside, run it up, punch through the soffit, and we like to cover it with a line hide. It's basically galvanized sheet metal. It's an 8x8 box that covers it from the soffit all the way down, protects it from sun wear so the insulation doesn't rot and fall apart, protects all the components going down to the system, and kind of hide it, and then homeowners can paint it whatever color they like to. And so it kind of looks like a gutter, and over time you'll forget about it. But we think it looks better than just a line set running up the side of the wall. Howdy. Come with me to the attic. I'm talking about how I was gonna get all sweaty. I might. We're gonna start taking a look at the furnace and coal and all the other stuff. Here we go. I did get sweaty. It got warmer in the attic as we worked, but it felt amazing that day. I think it was 80 degrees. So the attic was nice and cool. We have a 95% gas furnace. It's a condensating gas furnace. It's a higher efficiency. Best way to describe it is for every $100 they spend on Oklahoma natural gas or propane, only 5% of the heating is going out of the flue pipes. More efficient heating they can save on your utility bills. I'm gonna get the furnace opened up so I can see the model number. First impressions of this furnace is it looks great. It does look good. Installed in 2014. Looks like a system that we installed in 2014. So now obviously that was before we had the practice of not doing 95% gas furnaces. And sometimes it's customer preference too. Context matters a lot, because if a customer really wants a 95% gas furnace, then sure, we'll do it. We'll just have to communicate the risks. Just whatever the homeowner wants to invest in and where they want to spend their money. We'll do it. It's just, as a business practice, it just, like I said earlier, fixing sheetrock is not something we're great at. And so we always outsource that. And so if we can keep that from happening and keep sheetrock from being damaged due to water and all sorts of stuff, then that's a better day. Checking the blower compartment, I'm looking for kind of dust contamination on the blower wheel and inside the return. And then also it gives me access to take a picture of the data plate, which is right there. Because it was one of our installs, there's a lot of things that we can actually reuse, which is great. One of those major items would be the cradle hang. We can place the new unit up on top of that. And we call it cradle hang because we put unistrut underneath all this. So that way, whenever the unit has a really good platform to sit on, keeps it from warping over time. There's some units where you'll go in the attic and it's connected via plumber strap, which is the small metal straps with the holes in them going up, rectangle strap. And over time, that weight difference, and if it's not level when the straps are screwed in, it can cause some bowing. It makes it difficult to get the doors off, which can be a problem. It's an older ductwork. It's in decent shape. It's not the best ductwork in the world. New ductwork is silver lined, so it helps block out the UV light. Over time, the plastic on the inside of these guys can kind of fall apart. This is the better of the older ductwork. It stays together better. And so I'm gonna go through here in a second and count supply ductwork and return ductwork, make sure that they have enough. That's crucial to make sure that the system can breathe properly and whatnot. Overall, I mean, the ductwork is in decent shape. You do have a couple kinks over here where you've got some, looks like power lines were ran on top of that. We'll get that addressed. It'll cause a little bit of air restriction. You wanna make sure you don't have any kinks, or you want to make sure your ductwork's sized correctly. So that's a big thing that we're looking at this year. Ductwork can last a really long time, typically around 20 years. And in an ideal world, with the ductwork being older, obviously you'd offer to replace the ductwork too, but a lot of it depends on the homeowner, what they want to accomplish, what their budget is for repairs, what their budget is for system replacement, and if they're getting airflow where they need it. For this homeowner's experience, they were getting airflow where they needed it, and so the system just wasn't operating overall. So a lot of times I leave that up for the homeowner to make that decision. If there's like, hey, you do have older ductwork, it will need to be replaced at some point. But as of right now, as long as you're getting airflow where you need it, and there's no air gaps, and you're not getting any kind of infiltration from the attic space, then you can technically reuse it. We can fix some of the kinks, make sure there's no tears in the ductwork. But apart from that, we kind of leave that to the homeowner and see what they want to do. All right, so the ductwork, you're technically sized, it's sized correctly for a 3-ton, so 1,200 CFM. Roughly. It's a 2.5 ton. But I'm kind of concerned on the square footage of the home, whether or not it might be oversized. We will see. Not a whole lot of square footage. The unit's 10 years old. It may have been oversized, from the beginning. And with them setting the thermostats to 77 degrees inside, because they're accommodating for their grandmother's living with them. They're trying to save money on utility bills. They set at 77 degrees. My favorite question to ask people is, what's your compromised temperature you set the thermostat at? Because it can vary. We talk about HVAC is a lot of hard science, which is all the technical jargon, all the formulas and all the calculations you have to do. And then the other part is the soft science, which is, well, how do you feel? And that can vary homeowner to homeowner. You can have two people, two different houses, same size location, one system, and they're both 3-ton systems. One system's oversized, one system's undersized because of how they set the thermostat. So a 2.5-ton system may actually be a little bit too big. We may be actually stepping down from a 2.5-ton down to a 2-ton. If it was a 2-ton, the return air is technically sized correctly because it'll be around 800, 900 CFM. We'll set the blower speed to roughly 800 CFM, and then the supply ductwork is just slightly oversized, which is fine. And so I'd rather be oversized than undersized for sure. That's kind of the game plan. Depending on the square footage and their comfort preference, the system may be short cycling, which means it's turning on and turning off multiple times throughout the day because it's so effective at cooling the space that it's over. There's a run time you need these systems to run at, so that way they cycle the oils through the system, they cycle the refrigerant through the system properly. If it's shutting off too quickly, then the oils are not getting where they need to go. It's kind of like if you're sitting outside and you start your car and turn it off, and start your car and turn it off. It's hard on the engine over time. And so that may be an issue, especially with their temperature preference being at 77. Now, the homeowners before, so they're new to the home. They've only lived in this house for 2 years. And so their temperature preference is probably higher than the temperature preference of the people before them. And so 10 years ago, this may have been sized perfectly for their preferences. I would say that that's probably the biggest hurdle that we're having to solve for, is why did this system start having major problems around 10 years old? And it can happen. It can happen. Insulation is another thing that we look at. We don't do insulation. Yarbrough does not do insulation, but we do have family that does. We use weatherization experts. I will inspect the insulation, get pictures over to them if there's any kind of improvement that needs to be made. So this is a fiberglass insulation. This particular fiberglass insulation, if their studs are 2x8s, what I'm standing on, then that means they have about 8 inches of fiberglass insulation, which is not great. That's close to maybe an R20 as far as insulation effectiveness is. I would recommend at least having weatherization come out here and do an inspection. Another thing that happens is fiberglass insulation, mice will burrow. And so you can see some burrow holes of where the mice had been up in the attic and they had made nests and whatnot. And so, and if you've got those holes, don't help you because the air will just travel through that. And so you can have 140-degree attic air hitting the top of your ceiling if you've got a lot of air gaps. You want to make sure that you've got it sealed properly and you're not missing insulation where you need it. The white fiberglass is kind of notorious for it. The hot water tank. This is not common. Typically hot water tanks are not in the attic space. The serviceability of the upstairs unit is a little difficult. What to look for in hot water tanks. We started offering plumbing services last 2 years. I think we're earning our 3rd year. Added Mr. James Barker to the team. And then we got 4 other guys. What I always check for is, one, look at the condition of the hot water tank, make sure it's in good condition. Look for things that the homeowner may or may not be aware of. And then I always check venting, and this is good. I've been in a lot of homes where the venting is not connected, and it's in a garage space where they spend a lot of time, so that can be a hazard. I always check that for that reason. What can cause the vents to come undone or come disconnected is a roof being replaced. So if you're replacing your roof, make sure your venting is inspected professionally. Make sure it's connected after the roofers are completed. High winds can also cause it. And so if we have a high wind in Blanchard, Oklahoma, or Norman, Oklahoma, anywhere in the metro, I'd recommend making sure that your vents on your hot water tanks are still connected, because they can become loose. I've seen a lot of it. So double checking. Make sure that you and your family are safe. All right. We are done up here. We are heading to probably the other hot water tank. They've got 2 on the house, so I'm gonna check the other one. So I don't know where the other one is. So we're gonna find out. Just finished up. Everything went well. It was good. Recap, they have a 2.5-ton system, and it may be oversized for their comfort preferences. Set the thermostat around 77, and the square footage of the master bedroom, grandma's room, and the bathrooms associated are less than 800 square feet. And so at that point, with them putting thermostat at 77 degrees, their 2.5 system, I would say, is oversized. Maybe one of the reasons why the system is failing around 10 years, a little bit earlier than what you would want the system to fail or have major system breakdowns. Since it's not under warranty and the compressor's going out, it makes sense to do a full system replacement as opposed to just piecemealing and putting parts in. My final offers, there was 5 options total. There is 4 variable capacity options, 1 2-stage system, and then 2 single-stage system options, ranging in efficiency, cost, SEER rating, and whatnot. And so the most expensive system today was around $25K, and then the most cost-effective system was around 12. It's like 12.4. Now that also includes a few items. He wanted a hospital-grade filtration system, so a 5-inch filter has been included in that cost, as well as a 10-year labor warranty, as well as a phenomenal air ionizer. And so, without those items, it'd be about $3,000 less. But yeah, that's kind of my ranges. Went well. He wants to sit over it in the weekend, and he's air conditioning right now, so he's got cooling, and it's really nice out today, and so he wasn't really pressed for making a decision right now, but I'll call him after this weekend, and we'll see if they talk through it and see which route they want to go. Overall, it went fantastic. Now that we're finished up, it's lunchtime, so time for some food.
Customers still considering the options and everything that we discussed. This is a week ago. This is the last Friday of August. The system is technically working. It just isn't working the way that they believe it should. And so they're really considering doing system replacement. We try to be as thorough as we can to be able to set homeowners up for success, where the system is, one, installed professionally and correctly, two, communicate on items that they need to get done. I think oftentimes you'll find that the cheapest option is not always the best option, because you're going to be paying for it later. We try to be as thorough as we can to catch everything up front, so that way that system is designed to work for years to come. And so we're always happy to answer questions, always happy to help in any way that we can. And also too is for, you know, economy and whatnot. It's like it's good to know how much the thing costs. And we don't bite, but we answer tons of questions. And so we love to help you guys figure out, you know, what's needed for your home. If you're located in the Oklahoma City metro area, we'd love to be able to answer any questions you have and provide a quote for full system replacement and provide you the options. So that way the ball's in your court. So that way you know how much the thing costs, what's needed, what needs to be done, and we love to be there to help. Kolby Yarbrough with Yarbrough Sons Heating, Air, and Plumbing. You can find us at yarbroughsons.com. Or you can call us directly at 405-309-3470. Thanks. Have a great day.